All right, Katrina Madewell here, and I'm with Danielle Evans with Gateway Appraisals. And the purpose of this video today is to explain to you, especially if you're getting an FHA or a VA loan, why an inspection by the appraiser is not an inspection. So this is a common misconception that we get all the time, especially on VA buyers. Will say, oh, I don't know if I need to do an inspection because the VA is going to do an inspection. And it's important to understand that the credentials are completely different from appraiser to an inspector. And so I would love for Danielle Evans to join in and basically just recap on some of the things she does as an appraiser and get her perspective on it so you know what you're signing up for. Danielle, welcome.
Thank you for having me. The biggest difference between an FHA inspection and a home inspection is we have no formal background in home inspections at all.
But the bank, right, or the FHA requires the appraiser to do a visual inspection, right? And it's the same for VA when VA sends their appraisers.
There is a handbook. We follow the handbook, and we must disclose anything that we observe within that handbook. And so we are not there to inspect the home. So we will not be able to tell you what's wrong.
Let me check real quick. It's an observation or a visual inspection on any defects that you can see. So it doesn't mean you're qualified to actually inspect what's there.
No, we are not qualified to inspect the home at all. We are only qualified to observe and disclose, verify and report, and ask for additional inspections from a qualified technician.
And I think this is probably why buyers have the misconception that appraisers actually do an inspection on the home. What are some of the additional duties that the FHA or the VA are requiring appraisers to do when you guys do an appraisal inspection for home?
We must disclose if there's any peeling, chipping, or cupping paint, if there's any peeling or cupping in those shingles, if we notice any deferred maintenance, even if it's a pile of debris in the yard, we have to disclose it. And the FHA decides whether or not it needs to be removed. We have to test every single appliance in the house and make sure that it works. We have to run the water, run every electric outlet. We have to test. Most appraisers don't test outlets, but you're supposed to know if the outlets work or not. And if something's not plugged into it, we're not required to plug something into it.
So they plug in a tester in it?
No, we are not allowed to. We are not allowed. We're not allowed.
So how do you test the outlet if you can't plug the tester in it?
That I didn't write the handbook.
I got it. Okay. Some of the other things you guys are doing is also like poking your head up in the attic, like things like that.
We go up in the attic to determine if you have left all your debris up there and it's a fire hazard, if there is leaking, if it's mold, if we smell mold, if there's infestation. We're not up there to determine if the house is falling apart or needs to be repaired.
And you guys are not on the roof or like in a crawl space or anything.
We have to go under the crawl space, and we have to put our head and shoulders into a crawl space. And we have to get at minimum our head and shoulders into the attic, but we are supposed to walk the entire attic, truss hop the entire length of it. And we don't really have the qualifications to be there.
And sometimes you can't access it. Right.
And some of these attics are 10 to 16 feet to get up into. And most appraisers, we carry a step ladder or a regular 6-foot ladder to get into an attic. We're not building scaffolding to get up there. So there's a lot of it goes in that we're not qualified to be doing. That's why we're observing and disclosing and asking for a qualified technician to comment where we're not qualified to.
Well, Danielle, just like me, I'm licensed in my field, which is real estate. You're licensed in yours, which is appraisal.
Yeah.
And, we're licensed within the scope of our field. We see a lot of things, right? So we can probably say, oh, you probably should get this checked, or, oh, this may be an issue, but never at any time are we saying we are the inspector for the property, right? Exactly. So knowing what you know as the appraiser, would you still get an inspection from a third-party inspection company?
Absolutely. And when I buy homes, I buy a home inspection. I have a home inspection done, and I prefer an engineer over just somebody that's a home inspector.
Yeah, we highly recommend Barrel Engineering and Inspection. They're our go-to. They're also one of our sponsors for Tampa Home Talk, and they do an excellent job on our home inspections. And of course, we've got other backups if they're busy or the schedule doesn't meet. They're all recommended, highly preferred by us. And we want inspectors that are going to find everything you should know about the home and disclose that to you. So
Yes.
this is Katrina Madewell. Thanks so much for tuning into this video on why the inspection for the appraiser is not the same as your home inspection. So keep that in mind when you're substituting your inspection for the bank compared to the inspection that you have to get in the front loaded part of your contract. Bye for now.